A lot of people recommended me Super Metroid for the SNES because, well, fun fact, I never played the Metroid franchise. Yes, I did try to get into, well, Super Metroid long time ago, but then life happened and I had to prioritize that, and honestly I forgot most what happened in the game. But now I have a good opportunity to play the game, see why people like to recommend this game. Is it even a good recommendation to begin with? Why people like Metroidvania as a genre? And is the game good? Or are people just blinded with nostalgia? Well, there's only one way to find out. My name is the Weirdo Maxim, and welcome to Weirdo Review! Please tell me this looks cool. Once again, welcome to Weirdo Review. Do you have a better name for this series? Because I don't. Let me know in the comments below if you do. But yeah, Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Or in this case, Super Metroid for the Nintendo Switch emulation of the SNES. As I mentioned before, I have never played Super Metroid. Or I tried to, but then life happened and I never had a good opportunity to play it. Luckily for me, a buddy of mine, wayneisboss, is doing a Metroid Month this month, actually, October. And I said, you know what, I'm a content creator, I always wanted to play this game, and I am going to be playing this game. I have heard a lot of good things about Super Metroid, and honestly I never heard bad things about it. But again, is it good or is it nostalgia? Well, we're gonna play the game and find out, starting with the start. Now I can see why Wayne wanted Metroid Month on October. The Halloween month. Usually I like to talk about the story before anything else. But this is a rare case where I need to talk about the presentation first, as I believe it will give you a better core idea what the game is about. So, let's talk about the presentation. As you can tell from the main menu, this game is creepy. It has its element that one could argue can be borderline horror in it. And no matter how far you reach in the game, something still feels off. I can't really describe it in words, but even if you kill all the monsters in a certain room, something feels like you just didn't. Like they are more than what meets the eye. Like when you enter the room that you beat the mother brain in the first game, there's a dread that they are waiting for something to happen, which your gut was true when the camera of sorts sees you, and the monster that were waiting came to kill you now. This is a side note, but when I think about Nintendo, I think about Mario, Splatoon, and Zelda franchises, even though I haven't played the last one. Future Weirdo Review, anyone? Anyways, but when I see Metroid, I feel off based on the company who made it. And don't get me wrong, this is a good off. Nothing major nor minor will change my opinion on the game itself, just a food for thought, I guess. It also helps that the graphics in this game looks amazing. Even as a pixel art, it feels so polished, and you can tell what is happening in the environment, you or the enemies. For example, when you get an upgrade, when you freeze an enemy, when you destroy an enemy, when the place is alienated, foreign, whatever, things I cannot describe in words. But with the help of music, it does harmonize what I'm trying to say. I am actually surprised they had vast variety of music for that generation, and all the music describe very well what is going on, whether you're in danger or about to be in one. My only niche complaint would be the music item room ambience, because I personally wouldn't use that for the item room usage, maybe more so for something to give more fare in rare situations. Maybe when you feel like you will be safe, but then that music always itches you that you're not. By the way I'm describing this game, it is implemented that you should know one thing. Fear cannot be escaped. To put a constant emotion in games in overall is quite difficult. Some will be cringy and cliché to say the least. But this game somehow doesn't balance it, but makes fear work constantly. It's hard to describe it, and as much as I hate to say it, you need to play the game to understand what I mean by this. Fear. Even the story itself is creepy. You play as Metroid. I just wanted to piss some people off. Okay, let's take it seriously now. You play as Samus Aran, a bounty hunter who is really good at killing Metroids. After Metroid 2 and saving the last baby Metroid, you gave it to the scientists from the Federal Force to research about Metroid. Cause, giving something to scientists in any corporation, in any media is a good thing. Anyways, after you leave the place, the same place sends a distress signal and you went back and... well, they're dead. You went to the other room and surprise, surprise, you see the Metroid. With a giant badass purple dragon who people say was too big for Smash Ultimate, guess what he wasn't? Ridley holding it. And it seems like the whole place is about to blow up, so you leave ASAP. Yeah, the scientists are definitely dead. So you need to go back to the planet where you found Metroid because... plot. You need to kill the 4 bosses before entering a room because... plot. Kill the mother brain for the 3rd time because... evolution or something. I don't know. Plot, I guess. The whole plan is about to blow up because... you guess it. Plot. Escape the planet and win the game and play it again to save the animals and then escape. Because no matter how blind you're playing this game, people are still gonna be pissed off if you don't save them. But yeah, the story is loose at times. I have left out some other key points, but essentially my point stands. The story is in the main drive of the game, and that's okay. Don't get me wrong, it is a drive as to beating the game. But for me, the gameplay and the powers you get is the bigger drive here. And that is because of the story, like beating 4 bosses before the final one, is just there to add more gameplay time. Which again, isn't a bad thing, though I do wish that the bosses would have been explained a bit better as to why we must defeat them first. Then again, I might have missed some big plot points that the game presented to me because I was too stupid to connect dots, which I'll talk more about that later. The point here is the story is good when it has a reason to be there. The blowing off the planet and the 4 bosses feels like they just added it cause they can. I have no problem with the games doing this, but I do wish it had reason, or at least I knew the reason when playing the game. So the game looks creepy, sounds creepy, feels creepy, and tells a creepy story. But like in cinema, the butter is only good if the popcorn isn't burnt. So let's get into the... Hang on! The butter aren't good if the popcorn's burnt, so take your joy... What the hell was I thinking writing this script? This is just cringy. Let's just get into the gameplay. You actually start off pretty weak with limited energy and no skills. However, the more you progress towards the story, the more powerful you become with extra missiles, skills, and passive powers. However, if you sidetrack and try to find hidden rooms, walls, etc., you start to see that you can get even more powers and especially skills you otherwise wouldn't get if you just progress the story from A to B. Oh, and get as many as you can, especially if it's your first playthrough. Trust me! This game is hard. Well, kind of. See, the game is very challenging when you're starting out, but the more power you have, the easier the game becomes. There is a very big exception for this, but we will talk more about that later as well. This game has its own map system. You can check using the pause menu. And you can find more places where you can download maps that you may have not visited yet. This info is very important, but please also think outside the box with these. We will talk more about that later. Thankfully, the game is actually fun. You understand the world you live in, the powers make you feel, well, powerful, and I personally really like the thrill from the fear. I always feel free, like there's something new to explore or to know. But what makes the game fun for me is connecting the dots. There will be instances where you can progress and have no idea where to go. You check your surroundings, use the tools you have, and when you solve the puzzle, you actually feel like the smartest gamer of all time. I'm not even joking. Solving puzzles makes you feel like a badass. And the game makes sure to balance the fighting and the solving puzzles pretty well in my opinion. Just make sure you don't get lost. Actually, scratch that. You will get lost. Yeah, that is a big problem with this game. It can make you the smartest. However, if you miss even one single thing to progress, you will get lost for hours to hours until you find it by a walkthrough or by yourself and you feel like the stupidest person alive. Trust me, I know that feeling. I got lost in this game for 5 hours altogether, and it's frustrating to get lost. You feel like you are just wasting time despite you might find new power along the way. And the maps, while can be helpful, doesn't give you a full idea where is where. You just need to explore and hope you are right. I remember wasting 1.5 hours mindlessly going everywhere until I had to watch a YouTube walkthrough where to go, only to find out I didn't bomb the ground that gives a hidden tunnel. Thank you Kaplan for the walkthrough. Link in the description for their channel. Which leads me to the next thing. Get the skill X-ray scope as soon as possible. That is an optional skill, but honestly, as a beginner, I honestly encourage to get this if you want to progress to the story. The X-ray scope basically lets you scan for hidden places, hidden items, so on and so forth. But the hidden areas is why you need this skill. Because while it is true you have to stand still and scan for a few seconds doing nothing, it is a lot better than aimlessly wandering around for hours. Though with that said, do keep in mind that X-ray scope doesn't scan everything, so keep that in mind. Though it shows 95%, don't get me wrong, but the other 5% they don't show it for some dumb reason. You know what else is dumb? Sand level. I know this sounds like a sidetrack, but hear me out. In the sand level, there's a thing that is essentially a quicksand. Once you land on the quicksand, it takes quite some time to get out of the sand to progress with the game. The problem? It takes forever to get out of the quicksand, which is fine if you messed up, but the controls does not help here because it is too precise. Hear me out! The controls is actually really good, that when you want to shoot and run towards, jump, etc, feels precise and honestly is a good design. Except when you need to platform. Again, I hate to say this, but you need to feel the controls to know what I mean. But in my best abilities, because the controls is so precise and accurate, it is satisfying to play the game most of the time. But when a platforming becomes unfamiliar from previous room and you need to platform, the accuracy bites you in the back because the game doesn't, at least to me, feel like helping you to gravitate to the platform. And guess which level has unfamiliar platforming? It sucks because the game is so good. But because of these small hiccups, it's so frustrating for newcomers to play it, and sometimes they might even stop playing it for some amount of time and maybe forget about it. Which leads me to the final point. The boss fights. The boss fights are actually really cool and has their own uniqueness to figure out how to defeat them. I honestly would say it's some of the greatest I have fought. And there's the hiccups. All of the bosses needs a lot of missiles, otherwise you will need to be perfect with every shot to kill the bosses. Of course, some gives missiles and such back when kill their seeds or something relevant, but not as much as you like them to. Or you will need a special power for your gun called charging shot. That item is optional, but it's actually easy to get. Just bomb here and you will get it. So what kind of idiot would be so blind not to— You're looking at the idiot right here. Yeah, one could argue that this is my fault for not checking it when it was so obvious. But that's the thing, it's so obvious that I missed it. It ties up back to getting lost. You will feel stupid when you forget to check it, and you will forget to check it because you are a human after all. But this game punishes you for not checking the obvious, or trying stuff that may not work because it's not obvious. It sucks because I can't tell whether this is my fault or the game's, because that's what Metroidvania genre feels like to me. Trying things out and connecting the dots to progress to a platforming game, or be stuck until you find a way. And honestly, I don't know how to solve this problem. So, do I recommend Super Metroid for the SNES? It's complicated. I really do like the game, and honestly, it feels so satisfying when I did something right. But the opposite is also true. And because of these small hiccups, the game can be so frustrating and bad. I would say to try this game. And if you ever feel like you're getting lost, go watch a YouTube walkthrough or anything like that. Trust me, you aren't ruining the game because you watch a walkthrough. Honestly, you're saving yourself from ruining the game from those small hiccups. I can see why people like the Metroid franchise, especially this one, but since I haven't played other Metroid games, recommending this as your first Metroidvania game is tricky. For now, I will say yes, but if any of my future videos says otherwise, take that recommendation instead. And that's Super Metroid. I really had fun time playing the game, and honestly, I want to get back into the franchise as soon as I can. But I have other reviews to do and other videos I need to make. Speaking of that, what will be the next review? Well, grab onto your hat and jump as high as you can, because next time we are going to be playing Super Mario 64 for the Super Mario 3D All-Star, a game I haven't beaten as well. God, I'm really bad at beating all games, huh? Hello connectors, this is the Weirdo Maximia. Thank you so much for watching this video. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. And that was Super Metroid video. Next up is Super Mario 64. Yeah, I have nothing else to say but stay connected, subscribe and watch other videos. I am very tired. I've just been editing non-stop. There are some things I really wanted to edit out and edit in, but I'm running out of time. So I hope you still enjoyed the video. Thank you so much once again, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.